So I stayed this last week at a free dispersed camping spot on a lake about an hour outside of Helena, Montana. As you can see, the views and the sunsets were pretty amazing, and obviously with it being free, always nice. It did get busy on the weekends, but other than that, it was pretty good. Headed up to Crow Creek Falls. The road up there was pretty rough. It took me about an hour because the road was just so bad. I had to go super slow. But obviously the scenery was worth it. Mossy trees, river running next to me pretty much the whole time. The hike wasn't too bad, about 6 miles round trip. There was a waterfall at the end, which was my end goal. It was a really cool mine. I did not explore it, but I did decide that I wanted to try and climb this really awesome rock wall. I only had my hiking pants and hiking boots, so probably shouldn't have done it, but I am always up for the adventure. So I'm down there in the lower right-hand corner. I do cut out because I get to this point right here and evaluate and decide that my hiking pants and boots are not the best gear to try and actually rock climb this. I would have loved to go up to the left and actually do some climbing. I do feel around a little bit. The holds were good, but long story short, I cut around, and it's actually off camera, unfortunately. But there's a little, easier, kind of slightly slanted forward climb over to the right, and now I'm up just a little bit higher on the right-hand side. This tree does get in the way. The whole climb, like I said, was pretty forward-leaning, so not too bad. Make it to that first little ledge, and then I decide to go for the one behind me, and I'm farther up on the right hand side now, and I do make it all the way to that top part, which was again pretty easy. It was a fun climb even in the gear that I had. Make it to that final point there, and now I'm at the top of the waterfall, and of course I have to take a selfie. It was pretty fun up there, really rushing water. It was really cool. I looked to the side and there was a really cool wall there that I was not going to try. But then I saw this one behind me. So I set up the camera again and I decided to go for it. Again here, I think you can see me adjust my pants a little bit. Again, they're hiking pants, not climbing pants. This one was a little bit more vertical. See, I'm adjusting my pants there. Again, already realizing that I need to get some new gear. I just pull myself up here. It was really mossy and I had come across a lot of bugs and spiders. So I was trying to be cautious of that. Not a huge fan of spiders if you know me. So just taking my time, making sure I have good holds. Meander my way up here, and then I cut out, and I end up just sitting over on that rock on the left-hand side. Pretty good views, really easy climb. You can see that forward lean there really well right there. Really not too difficult, but it was a really fun climb. The next day I headed up to Helena. Of course, I had to wait for the cows. Downtown was really cool, had some cool murals. I also stopped at a store to pick up some rock climbing shoes and some chalk. And then they sent me over to the bouldering gym. This first climb is just a super easy ladder climb, just kind of feeling it out, getting warmed up. Met some really cool people there that told me about a community climb, and gave me some pointers. Was really just kind of getting warmed up here. This next one was a little bit harder. I'm going on this green route. I saw a couple of kids do it right before me, so, I had to make sure that I could at least do this one. Really just trying to, this one's a little bit more slanted forward, so a little bit more difficult for sure. But again, just kind of trying to keep my arms at length, make it to the top there. This next one, I am not really following a path. I'm just trying to get comfortable on this type of grade. And I actually do get to about here, and I think I ripped my callus. Which was a little painful. And at this point, I'd been going for about 3 or 4 hours. So my forearms were super tired. And there's my callus. I kept going, though. Still wanted to get some practice. This was the monster that I could not beat, this blue route. It was kind of in the middle stage of difficulty. The top 2 big blue pieces there have no groove on the top side, so you really have to pinch. It's a pinch grip. which I am still getting my fingers and hands used to. So I have to kind of use this wall. You can't see it, but there is a couple of holds on that left hand side by my hand over there. That's also a pinch grip that I'm on right now, but it's a little thicker. I've tried this several times, and I've gotten to the same point, and I can't quite beat it, which is very frustrating. But I'm sure I'll be back at some point, and with more practice, I'll continue to get better. On Tuesday night, I decided to head over to the community climb because it was just about 25 minutes away from me. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of rain previously, so nobody showed up for the climb. These are some of the rock walls that had some anchors in them. It was a really cool place. All these rock formations were just incredible. It was called Hellgate Gulch. Because nobody showed up, I decided I wanted to try and get at least a climb in, kind of free soloing. So I attempted to kind of see what this rock was like. And if you can see me there, I'm actually pulling out. There was several rocks that just pulled out from my hands right there. My feet were kind of slipping, and it was pretty much straight vertical right there. And I feel like I learned my lesson from the Badlands, and decided that this just was not going to be worth the risk here, even in my new gear. I was not willing to give that a shot. If it would have been a little bit, more solid rock that wasn't pulling apart on me, I think it would have been a really cool climb. Again, I really do try it for a few minutes, but then eventually I just decide to call it quits on that one. You see me come down here, give me the no-go signal. It just wasn't happening. Decided to kind of go off the trail and just kind of meander my way up the mountain. As you can see, it was pretty steep and kind of slippery rock that just kept giving away. My calves definitely got a workout, but I eventually, near the top, found this rock wall that I thought was really cool. Funny story, I actually did this climb twice. The first time I was really excited, and I came down and the camera wasn't recording. So I contemplated for quite a while if I wanted to do it again, especially since it had been raining, and it started sprinkling a little bit. I was not on a path. I was just up on a mountain. It was getting dark. But I decided to go for it, just because I really felt pretty confident. I made it the first time, but I actually, as you can see, I'm sitting here, really confused because I could not find the path. So I actually went back down. Again, still contemplating if I even wanted to do it again, because this was definitely the scariest climb that I've done. My feet right now are about 5 to 7 feet from a trench of rock right below me. And this is my starting point. And again, this one is, it's pretty much almost straight vertical, maybe a slight lean forward in some, but there's also some that kind of overstick over me. So I kind of had to bend backwards. Honestly, I was really nervous pretty much the whole time. But again, I had the gear, had the chalk, and had the shoes, and had the more flexible pants. So I just decided to go for it. But yeah, funny story. I could not find the first original path that I went on, which I felt was, a really good path. So I actually did this climb twice and did 2 different routes, because I could not find the first route that I did. There were several instances, I don't know if you can see them or if I cut them out, but my feet did slip quite a few times. So, and again, at this point, I'm 10, 12 feet above just a gully of just rock, not soft rock, very, kind of like what I'm climbing, very solid, hard rock. So it was very nerve-wracking. But I just make sure to take my time, make sure that I am always having, at least 2 or 3 points of contact that are very solid, before moving, to any other point. So if I find a really good hold, I kind of just sit there and look around and, see what my next move is going to be. I'm not scrambling up there. That's how you get hurt, especially doing what I'm doing, which is not really recommended, especially with no helmet, no no equipment really at all. It's called free soloing. It's very dangerous, but for me, it's what's easiest to do. And I actually find a lot of excitement. As crazy as that sounds, it's just kind of a thrill-seeking, if I fall, things could go really bad. My foot slips right there. So again, I'm just being very cautious. Again, this is my second time up. I was very frustrated when I got down from the first time because I was really happy and proud of myself. Again, I'm up a mountain right here, not on a trail. I just scurried up a mountain. I had to do quite a bit of rock climbing just to get to where I'm at right now, and quite a bit of rock climbing to get back to my truck, which is not recorded, but it was quite the adventure on this mountain. My biggest fear, especially going back down to my truck, was running into a rattlesnake. The tall grass that I was in and the landscape was just very much their environment, and I was a little worried about it. But we made it back safely, which is always good. I'm nearing the top now. My hand is actually sitting in some animal's poop, which was very unfortunate. But, I'd rather have poopy hands than fall to my death. So I make it up to that little ledge. It's actually sitting out. So the ledge that I'm on, that my feet are on, is solid, but the one that's next to my waist right there is actually sticking out over top of me. So it was very uncomfortable and awkward. I do reach up and use this bush, kind of cheating. But again, this is the second time that I've done it. And I just want to make sure that I make it to the top safely. So I kind of just pull myself up there. And then I eventually get situated. The backside was not like this. It was more of just a path down, which was nice. And I always try and make sure that I have a safe route down, because I don't ever want to try and climb back down the way that I climb up. That would just be no fun, and that's when my fear would kick in. Got to do my pose, of course. And I put a little 2 there for the second time that I made this, and I also come down and twice. I did that twice, guys. I ended up going to the gym again later in the week, and I had a few other climbs. Already feeling pretty confident, more so than my first time even. My hands and forearms are still pretty sore. My hands are completely tore up still to this point. But the chalk definitely helps, and I just try to listen to my body. Took some Advil for my ribs that are still bothering me from the Badlands. And this was actually a much shorter session. This was a cool little, I don't know if this is actually the way that I was supposed to go, but it's the way that I did it, because it felt the most comfortable to me, because I had to start on that other wall. So I kind of just meander my way over here. It was a fun little climb. All of these ones on this wall I had not done before. There was definitely some, as with any gym, that are for masters, and unfortunately my camera does cut out there, but I do make it to the top of that one. This was probably my favorite one. I had tried it the first day I'd come, and I just could not get it. But I figured out the trick to this one, which is using, you can't see it, but there's a little side wall on the right hand side. Because the top finish of this is actually above that overhang. And the 2 top ones that I'm about to get to now are not facing the way that my hands are, like right here. They're actually facing the opposite way. So I have to turn my hands around, use this little corner on the right hand side, and use the backwards pressure. And I actually almost slip. I got this one twice. The time I was recording, I almost slipped right there. And the top part is just a pinch hold, so it wasn't great, but we made it. This was another fun one on the other side of the gym. Nothing too special here. But again, just trying to get a feel for some of the different angles, some of the different holds. Because I'm doing more free soloing, I'm not really overly concerned about some of the harder routes, because I won't ever be doing those out in the wilderness, unless I do make it to a community climb and have harnesses and stuff like that. But really just trying to keep working on my footwork, and be comfortable in these small footholds, because that is what I'm finding a lot out in nature. Is the handholds seem to be just fine. The footholds seem to kind of slip me up a little bit. So I make it to the top of that one. And that's the end of the gym. I actually went to the hot springs as well, but had a fun little time with the cats. Little Luna got off the leash, but we decided to just go on a walk, and she did really well. She followed me around the whole park. Jinx was also out and about. She doesn't wear a harness because she freaks out, and she's not really going to run anywhere besides next to the camper. But she was having fun exploring, just hanging out in the grass and getting some smells and stuff like that. And then little Luna here was also just kind of exploring. I make sure she wears a harness, because she will go run off, and she has gotten up a few times, but she always seems to come back. So my biggest fear with her is also rattlesnakes. I don't think that a bear would really mess with her. She's got some sharp claws. But she likes to lead sometimes, and sometimes she likes to follow. But one thing is for certain, she most definitely likes her little dust baths. She does a little roll around here, and she is adorable. And we had a lot of fun at this campsite. We were just hanging out. They decided to get on the truck, and now we're on our way.